do you have a ballpark number in your head of how many dice you've sold? Like,
I think we're closing in on about 1 million dice sold, which
okay,
is frankly very wild.
yeah,
That's a lot of dice.
frankly, very wild. Yes. So, welcome to the Want to Know More show, the show where I ask folks fun questions about the world of gaming because I find it fascinating, and I think you do too. I'm your host, Miles, and today our famous guest is, I have like insert famous person's name in brackets, Steve from Baron of Dice has joined us today, which we're super appreciative of. Thank you for joining us. For the 5 people in our space who don't know who you are, can you give kind of everyone like a quick 1-2 punch of what all you do in gaming and work and that whole thing?
Yeah, so my name's Steve. I'm the owner and operator of Barona Dice. What we try to do is create the best wargaming dice in the world. So we've created resin dice and special kind of in-house QA processes. Started in dice, now we have trays, accessories, deck boxes, kind of expanding from there. So all your gaming needs.
It's so interesting. So deck boxes.
Yeah.
I was like scouting around on the internet and I found, I think, a relatively not recent interview with somebody, and you were talking about, oh, we're thinking about getting into deck boxes. So is that working out? Is that
It is,
super fun now?
Yeah, it is. These were our first two. So we released 2 designs kind of as a tester. And the community seems to have really liked those. So
Okay.
we're taking those and they've asked for play mats. So we don't have play mats yet. I think they're coming soon.
Preview.
Preview.
Yeah.
Along with a few other deck box designs. I think we kind of locked down our style. We found our niche, which was the friends that we play with, they have 100 double sleeve cards and they have tokens. And most of the deck boxes were, hey, it holds 100 double sleeve cards. But what do you do with those 10 tokens? So we wanted kind of a 110 double sleeved card deck. That's what we did.
Okay. And so I am card illiterate, although I did grow up playing Magic the Gathering and things like that. Can you kind of break that down a little bit more? Like, is that cross system, or is that kind of just go a little bit more, make it for the not smart person in the room?
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our game systems that we like. I know you're a tabletopper, so welcome to the card industry.
Yeah.
I am also a tabletopper, so this is kind of the pot talking to the kettle here.
Yeah.
But in Magic, one of the most popular formats is Commander. Commander has 100 cards as a normal deck, right? You'll field all 100 cards, and then some of those cards can make tokens, and tokens are simply another card with a 1/1 or a 2/2 or a zombie or
yeah.
knight.
Okay, now I'm following.
There you go.
That makes sense. Yep. Yeah. I feel like back in the day that was like the white deck had like they could just pump out like 1/1s and stuff like that.
Yeah, about 100 of them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so then back to like the heart of the business, dice. You've got pretty renowned dice, but I have like a slight bone to pick with you, and I guess I want you to convince me otherwise.
Okay.
How do you keep the dice from not being weighted?
Oh.
Is there a process? Is that something that you are like considering as you go through your distributor and things like that? Because I see dice and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the mold matters and things. I can buy a whole set of 20 dice and they're all going to roll ones. Is that a problem, or is that something that you've addressed?
No, absolutely. So this is kind of why part one of the reason why I wanted to even start this company, right, is the market is full of acrylic dice. So for those who are dice illiterate, there are acrylic, very broad categories, right? Acrylic dice and resin dice, which are 2 kind of readily available. The market is about 90% acrylic dice for D6s. So these are lighter in weight. They're more prone to micro bubbles. They have an entirely different process, right? And the molds are just really entirely different. So breaking it down, acrylic has a metal mold. It's injection molded, so you're just pressurizing a liquid melted pellet, and that's kind of how getting your coloration per die. And this is like a mass quantity, right? You're doing 100,000 on kind of a base run. What we've done is we've done resin dice. So we have silicone molds. They're all hand mixed, hand swirled. So you take your big bucket, 5-gallon bucket of resin, and then you'll add your dye, right? Because it's hand mixed, and that creates your color. So if you want an orange, I'm taking red and yellow, and I'm mixing it and dropping, swirling until I get that orange. Then you're going to take your different colors. Say you have 2 colors, say orange and purple, right? It's really popular. You swirl them. You're literally hand pouring them into a silicone mold. You'll then heat it, put it in a debubblizer, and that's kind of like our thing. So these are heavier. You can see your hand. You're touching it. You're seeing this whole process. You're making sure there are no bubbles. There's no micro bubbles. There's no balancing issues, right? From there, you're going to take it out. You're going to engrave it, and then you're going to hand inlay it because we're small scale. And then you're going to polish it, and then you're going to do your finishing effect if you have one, pearlescent, matte finish, or just kind of an original matte finish. And then there you go. And then you're going to QA it, 3 different times. So,
and when you say a lot of this happens, like you have, like you're saying, like hand crafted a lot there. Is that still to this day the thing of the thing? Like, so you are, but it's not you doing it. It's the warehouse doing it.
Correct. So we have a whole production facility. They're overseas, and we've kind of worked together and created our own techniques, right? Our own special things that make us different, especially our QA processes. Because that's, even if you have a pretty dice, if it's not balanced, it's not a dice.
No bueno. Yeah,
right,
no
it's
good.
a paperweight at that point.
Yeah, I played a lot of. I started with Magic way early on, found Warhammer way early on, and then got into like heavy cardboard kind of games, like really complicated cardboard games. And my uncle is a big inspiration on that, and he would always talk about how like dice, like you can't get any dice except for the perfect dice. That they have to roll like. And I think his whole thing was like they have to be printed numbers on the dice instead of engraved. When you engrave them, is that a problem?
I think I know what you're talking about. So when you engrave them, right, they no longer become casino dice,
right,
which is your perfect dice.
That's
perfect
like,
to a degree. It's 1/1000th of a millimeter. So you could stack 1,000 cubes and then 1,000 cubes next to it.
Yeah.
And on those cubes, after 1,000 are stacked in a perfectly tall center, you'll have 1 millimeter up to 1 millimeter of difference.
Wow. Okay. So, and that's those.
And yeah, we're unveiling these. Another sneak peek. We're unveiling these in about 2 weeks. So on the side, you can see that there's discs.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And this is a casino dice, but these are 16 millimeter. They don't exist. Casinos use 19 millimeter. So we want something that's in hand.
I have that is amazing. Okay, so you're hitting on a very big point. About 2 years ago, and ever since then, I have looked online for smaller casino dice that I could roll that were exactly that. So I think you read my mind, which I'm really excited about. So I will be buying this. Okay, and everyone listening to this podcast or this show at this point, just go out and buy them when they come on sale. So that's interesting. So that is definitely taken into account, and it looks like that's kind of like your way about it.
Okay.
But we all want our style too. So you do have like, I guess the like less perfect dice out there.
Correct.
What, like, do you have a ballpark number in your head of how many dice you've sold? Like,
I think we're closing in on about 1 million dice sold, which is frankly very wild.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
frankly
dice.
Very wild. Yes. 1 million is a big number, especially if you kind of like put that out in front of you. Did you, when you were, let's go back a little bit on like startup. So did you, when you were first like kicking around doing this in your, I'm guessing your bedroom or something like that, did you think you'd sell 1 million dice?
No. None of this was, I just wanted dice for my army.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the whole purpose, the whole reason that we got into dice making. I just wanted an army. And then one of my best friends for a long time. I wanted to buy dice for his army because we're playing each other, right? I want thematic, right? We painted our armies up. We're ready to, hit the table. And then from there, we just kind of, hey, we could maybe make a business out of this.
Yeah. Tell me the origin of Baron of Dice, because I find that very curious, and I have this mental image of you someday owning a castle,
Okay.
and I want that to happen so
Okay.
that you can be the Baron of Dice on the hill somewhere that has the mystical dice.
Yeah.
Was that just like did some marketing and you were like, this kind of works?
No. So the name, it was another one of my friends, William, and to this day, William does not remember giving me the name. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, I didn't come up with that." I was like, "Yeah, you did."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we were on a phone call, and we were like, maybe the Duke of Dice, maybe like the Vampire of Dice. He was like, "Nah, bro, you're regal. You're like a Baron of Dice." And I was like,
yeah,
"William, I think you're onto something. It kind of rolls off the tongue."
yeah.
And
It does always, like, when you find the name, you've done 1,000 names before that, and you're like, oh, that's the one that hits. Although
it,
that search is long and wide, and there's a lot of it.
it is.
We feel that about Wicked Dicey sometimes. We're like, that worked, but that took 1,000 other tries that didn't work.
Right.
And you're the Baron of Dice, and then there's the Magnet Baron, I think. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've probably met him at conventions and stuff. And I feel like there's got to be other Barons out there. There needs to be more Barons. So anyway, I've always found the name, that was just a great name for it. So that's good. So what about so talk me through a little bit of your convention stuff, because not only do you have your like online sales,
Mhm.
you pack up your life every weekend, I'm guessing, at this point, or you've got kind of a second in command with you as well, who I've met before, but I don't know their name.
Philippe.
Um,
You met
say
Philippe.
Philippe, yeah.
Yep.
Seems, yeah. I usually I'm running around, my head chopped off, so I don't have time to talk with vendors, and Brad deals with that. So you pack up your life, and then you get in a van, car, something of that sort, and drive up to these conventions. Is that now every weekend
It's
at this point?
Yeah, we have a 2005 Chevy Suburban,
Okay.
the Burb, and we take that to events. It is not every weekend.
Okay.
We try to limit it about once a month. That's kind of our ideal goal. And that is shifting more to Philippe and kind of
Gotcha.
where he can take it, where he can go with it.
Yeah. Is that because at one point in my life I sold potion bottles. It was like a little fun, like, Renaissance fair point of my life. Long story, we can get into some other day.
Okay.
But I found sitting at a booth not my favorite thing in the world. Is that something that you enjoy? Because I know, like, the few business folks that are going to come on here and be like, what is life as a vendor at a convention? If they're looking for that information,
Yeah.
is there something that you really enjoy about just chilling at a booth the whole time?
Yeah, so we've been blessed with, our booths have always been busy. So we're not really sitting down ever. We've always been up and talking to people and doing our little shenanigans where we bless your dice, little voodoo magic right there. So we've kind of been really fortunate with that. It has been awesome to meet the other vendors, right? Get ideas, make contacts, see where you can collab, right? If
Yeah.
you can. I met Laramie, who runs Tabletop Terrain, at Adepticon 2 years ago. And I mean, now we're working together and doing photos together, and he sells some of our dice on his website, and kind of vice versa. And it's like,
Is Tabletop Terrain the one doing a Kickstarter right now? They have like a mushroom looking Kickstarter out there in the world.
I don't think so.
Okay, there's a company called Tabletop Terrain that I was literally just looking into before this call.
I would love that link. I would absolutely.
Yeah, I'll send it over.
Okay.
We've been kind of scouting kind of Wicked products. So anyway,
Okay.
just my little preview there.
Okay.
But anyway, okay, so the monotony of it is not monotony. It's interesting. It's fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to collab. Do you someday you'd have one employee. Is it just Philippe right now, or is it?
No, so I have Philippe kind of runs the trade show type things. We have Joey. Joey is our CMO. He kind of runs all of our marketing efforts.
Okay.
Joey has been around the longest, and then after Joey, it's Tim. Tim runs all of our logistics right now. So right now, Tim is hard at work packing your order if you have an order.
Gotcha.
And then John came on board, and John kind of also does the same thing that Tim's doing right now. So John's over there, rocking and rolling. And then Philippe kind of came on officially about 30 days ago. So he's
Oh,
been
cool.
he's my best friend. So he's been around
Yeah.
forever. And we were like, hey, maybe we can make this work, right? And that's kind of
Yeah.
where it led to is hey, okay, let's carve you out of position. Let's kind of give you full control and see what happens.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
My quick mental image of the two of you is Baron of Dice, just because I know you both from the, like, I don't know all those other people, but I'm sure they're amazing and they're lovely. I only know you two, and so it's just like that's my mental image.
Right.
Cool. So just a few more things, because I don't want to like take your entire day or anything like that. And again, appreciate you kind of answering these odd questions.
Yeah.
But I had like some fun quick fire questions.
Okay.
You ready for those?
Yeah.
So do you know if does Henry Cavill roll your dice? Have you sold any dice to Henry Cavill?
I hope so. I sure as hell hope so. Yeah. We're always on the lookout for the next Henry Cavill order to come through.
Yeah.
We've gotten one of them, and I was like, dude, this is him. But it was not. It was,
damn.
It was somewhere in the U.S. that was being funny. But
are there any, like, on that same kind of note, just kind of being silly, but are there, like, I'm sure that you've been around long enough to like meet a bunch of YouTube personalities that, you know, are renowned in our space. Are there any kind of wish list YouTubers out there, or not even just YouTubers, but just like content creators that you're interested in connecting with?
I mean, yeah, I have also been a little fortunate to kind of meet a few of them, but I haven't met all of the ones I wanted to meet in person, right? I feel like it's different just online versus in person. I've met the Playland crew, a lot of them.
Okay.
I've met Steven with Vanguard Tactics. He's super cool. I met Adrian with Tabletop Titans, and they are super cool. My first ever YouTube sponsored content is called Battle Shock Wargaming.
I know of them.
David?
I know of a Battle Shock Wargaming channel. I think they do battle reports, but maybe it's a different one.
They do fantasy, so AOS stuff. And I met Michael from there at LVO last year, but I didn't meet David, so I kind of want to sit down and have a beer with him. That'd be cool.
Do y'all have like what's your content seems to be like a lot of Instagram, a lot. Do you? I'm guessing like some kind of Facebook ads or something like that. What's your like? Without giving away the secret sauce, what's your like? What's your main like? I don't know. What's successful basically?
I mean, hands down, the most successful marketing that anyone will ever get is word of mouth.
Yeah,
right. It is what every business owner should be focusing on.
Which is underemphasized in every other business. Like the first thing everyone's like, let's go to Facebook and figure that out, and let's go to Google Ads and figure that out. But a lot of times it's just like have a good product and be a nice person. I feel like is a lot to do with it.
Yes. So the industry is it's large, but it's not, right? We have a small industry. Everyone knows everybody. So if you're an asshole, like, people will know you're an asshole, and nobody likes to help an asshole.
Yeah. There's, I have a lot of comments on that, but we're going to keep that. So, well, cool. All right. So then I just got one more question, because I feel like in like 4 months I'll beg, plead, and borrow to have you back on the show, and we can talk about more things. But my last like sign off question is, do you dream of dice? Do you as the Baron of Dice, do you dream of dice?
I have been known to wake up, I don't know, god awful hours, and write notes in my phone of something that and Em's my wife. She's been supportive the whole time. It's pretty crazy. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, just trust me. I got the best idea here.
I do that too. and my phone's across the house at night. Like I purposely like, and I'm like, I decide, is it worth getting up for this idea? And I kind of like stumble past the dogs and then write it down in my little notes app and then probably forget about it usually. But
Oh
anyway.
no.
Oh, cool. So yeah, that's great. I think that's a good pause point. Thanks again for all like just chit chatting. That's kind of what this show is all about, and
Okay.
I appreciate your time.